The decision to make a roster change in RLCS despite having a prolific team is not something that is uncommon. We've seen it happen numerous times in the past, some being in mind of Team Vitality, where the decision to get rid of a second place finish and a world championship finish in Scrubkilla to bring in an all French speaking roster is something that many were a little bit concerned about. We saw recently with FaZe getting rid of LAWL after a solid performance and a top 4 performance at the fall split major to bring in Sypical because of the prolific status to eventually get the same results. But now we have confirmation that this is also happening. And although it's been rumors that one of the most successful teams of all time in Rocket League in Team BDS is also deciding to do this. There's a couple circumstances that I'm for and against when it comes to this scenario. So we're going to be talking about that in today's video. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about specifically, Team BDS announced today that the French super team, we are glad to welcome Seiko to our Rocket League roster and officially have stated that as a result, Mark8 has been moved to the bench. There's been a lot of conversations about this roster and how that Mark8, despite being extremely talented, being one of the very few veteran players still sitting on the bench alongside Fairy Peak, Turbo Pulsa, and a couple of others. But we do get confirmation now. For the first time, Team BDS has announced it specifically, and they do put out a really cool announcement video that isn't and doesn't necessarily always have to be in-game footage of the players being very, very good. It's actually a really well hand-drawn and colored picture of the new roster. That looks honestly absolutely incredible, but there's a lot more behind it. For those that don't know, the Team BDS roster when they came in was one of those teams from the Rival series that I saw and was like, this team is going to be something special. One of those that passed the eye test that every single player, particularly me, was marked by 8, understanding the game sense side of things, when and when not to go for challenges, being very, very decisive on when and when not to go, and allowed his team to be quite successful. And that went for quite a while. Over 1,000 games, over 2,000 goals, a win rate of 60% plus, and over 10 tournaments ran between every major in RLCSX, multiple regionals. They were in arguments as one of the best teams, and the only question mark surrounding them was, well, they haven't done it online, or they haven't done it offline. They haven't done it on LAN. Not that it's necessarily their fault, because the pandemic wasn't enabling in-game or in-person events. And then the fall major happened, and they did win. They proved that they are the best team in the world at that point, despite everybody talking about how poor they were looking in the latest regional against Vitality, where they lost. A lot of communication issues going into that event and everything else. And despite that, they were still winning. So the conversation then surrounds, you have been together for now over a year, almost 2. You have built a very successful roster and are still showing really, really good results. And now, even though you aren't placing top 6, you're still going to the international major with the 16 best teams in the world and having a decent showing. And who knows if that would happen again in spring. You won the last one. This one didn't go all that great. And maybe you change that in hopes of being better, or you keep building upon what you have. And that's where this conversation kind of goes with Team BDS, is the decision of, do we build upon what we have? Do we show loyalty to a player that's gotten us to this point for so long in Mark8, or do we do the business decision and go with Seiko and give us a full French-speaking roster, something that we know is heavily regarded in the European scene, and try to, I guess, make improvements for the home stretch? You know, you don't have the ability to make any other changes. It is a new roster, different iterations. It's going to take time to adjust and develop. But the sound of Monkey Moon and Seiko on the same roster, and you're still having to talk about extra, on paper looks like the most dangerous team and would many of us argue be the best team in the world come the World Championship, which I almost guarantee BDS is going to be at. So again, I guess there's just a lot of conversation to be had around this. On one side, what does that mean for Mark8? There was conversations potentially of him trying out for Envy and a buyout happening there. A lot of us thought that he might potentially go to Guild as well. And then on the other side, Seiko leaving Endpoint. Who knows what's going to happen with Endpoint now that they have Archie on loan? And is BDS ultimately going to get better? Because that's, I guess, where it comes down to ultimately. BDS is trying to make a decision that, for better or for worse, is going to make them more successful. Business-wise, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. I hear Mark Baye's buyout is extremely expensive, but primarily they are assuming that by getting rid of Mark, who by no means is bad, is a very excellent player, the thought that bringing in Seiko, allowing everybody on the team to now speak their native language, as well as provide that mechanics. I don't know how you make BDSL that much better, but I do think Seiko could be a player that does it. What it's going to look like specifically, how the team is going to perform, I don't know, but I am excited to figure it out, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. And you can see the chemistry is there as well. All throughout the winner split major in LA, you saw these three players hanging out together. It seems like it was not a haste decision. It was something that it probably went under quite a bit of consideration, because it is tough to give up what you know is something that can be very successful. So looking at BDS, there is a lot of expectations of this team, and after the first LAN in 2.5 years, and to look like the way that they did is a very interesting decision to be made. So I guess ultimately I'm curious on what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that the Seiko acquisition is going to be beneficial. Do you think that the Mark situation, because again, I think a lot of people look at Mark as if he's been slighted, and I guess that's where the biggest concern comes in, is although you guys didn't have the best performance recently, you guys have played 2/3 of the season. Wouldn't you want to finish it out with that player? Or is it just, hey, it's nothing but business, no harsh feelings, but like we're doing everything we can to secure a world championship, which I can also understand as well. The only difficult about these things is we don't know all the details. We don't know the conversations that were had behind the scenes. We don't know the communication issues that seemed to be going on, that were hinted at by Monkey Moon at one point. But it's tough. You would like to give this person and this player in Mark Baye a chance to like finish out what is the legacy of his time with BDS. But at the same time, I do understand, as much as you want everything to be sunshine and rainbows and everybody's feelings to be spared, you are trying to be as successful as possible. You are trying to be the best team in the world, and sometimes that does mean a roster change. So officially, BDS has announced Seiko is in, Mark is on the bench, Mark trying to find a new team, and that is going to do it for them. The spring split for them starts in just over a week, and I am excited to see what the team looks like, but it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird seeing BDS without Mark, and maybe Seiko makes them even better, but who knows? Like I said, those stats: over 1,000 games played together, over 2,000 goals scored, a win rate of over 60%, with 10 plus tournaments between majors and regionals and everything else. BDS, if they had the ability to play RLCSX in the live Rocket League era, they could go down as probably the most successful team of all time, even over Dignitas, because what they did was absolutely absurd. So pretty wild stuff to see that chapter closed, and we go into the next one, but that's the way it goes sometimes. If you guys enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments down below and what you guys feel about the situation. But that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you do enjoy it, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.